Hello, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Becca and today I have my September book haul. So you could say that in September I've acquired quite a few books and there are actually 23 in total. So one of them was an ARC that I received. I've got 2 library books, 3 were sent to me by another booktuber, and the remaining 18 I purchased. And it's not good, but I did go a few places at the end of August and the beginning of September. Ryan from Reading with Ryan was here for a little while and we went to Beverly and Scarborough, which both have great secondhand books. So I couldn't really help it. I found some really cool stuff and I'm going to share them with you today. So as usual, I'm going to split this haul up into sections, and the first one is going to be the ARC I received, and that was Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor. I know. I am so absolutely hyped and pumped to read this, like you literally have no idea. This is the sequel to Strange the Dreamer and it arrived on my doorstep from Hodder and Stoughton. Thank you so much to Hodder and Stoughton for sending me this ARC. I've already started it. I only have around 150 pages left and I don't want it to end because it's so good. So I can't really go into the plot of this because spoilers, but this is the sequel to Strange the Dreamer and also my most anticipated release of 2018. All I'm going to say is that it's really good so far. I am going to be doing a non-spoiler series review for the Strange the Dreamer duology. I will also be doing a book diary on this. It is released on October 2nd, so you can expect to see some reviews and stuff from me up in that week. Then onto my library books, the first one being Sal by Mick Kitson. I got this one out for Contemporary-a-thon, and this is the story of familial abuse, and it follows 2 sisters. The elder one is being abused by their stepdad, and so she watches a lot of YouTube videos and reads SAS Survival Handbook to get tips on how to survive in the wilderness, and she takes her little sister and runs away because she's coming to the age that their stepdad started to abuse the elder one. This is extremely hard hitting, and I would say trigger warnings for child abuse, domestic abuse, murder, paedophilia, rape, all that good stuff, and there are some quite graphic scenes in here. And surprisingly, I looked on Goodreads and it's marketed as a young adult coming of age story. I would not agree. This is an adult novel. It reads as like a stream of consciousness from the perspective of a 13-year-old, but it is definitely too graphic and contains themes that are not suitable for a young adult novel. The other book I picked up is one that I reserved way before Booktubeathon but has only just come in, and that is The Poppy War, and I believe you say this as R.F. Kong? Kwang? My pronunciation is terrible, but I know it sounds like Kong, but there is like more of an inflection on the letters in this name. But I believe that this is a grimdark fantasy that is based on the historical events of the rape of Nanjing / Nanking. I know there's 2 ways of saying it, and it takes place in a fantasy world. I don't know much about it than that, apart from it contains extremely dark themes and graphic content and is not suitable for those of you with a weak stomach or who are younger readers. I am incredibly excited to get to this because it has been receiving a lot of hype. I also do have to get to it soon because I don't think that I can renew it from the library because it's such a popular book. So you can expect to hear my thoughts on this very soon. Then I have 3 books that I received from the lovely Cody over at Cody's Book Corner, who is a booktuber that I love. She did an unhaul recently and I asked if she could send me a few books and she kindly said yes. The first one of which is Warcross by Marie Lu. Now I can't lie, I did read Batman Nightwalker by Marie Lu recently and I really didn't like it. However, I am willing to accept that part of that reason is because I personally really don't like superheroes. So picking up a book about superheroes was kind of like my mistake. There were other things that I didn't like about it, but I am willing to give Marie Lu the benefit of the doubt and try out Warcross. As you may know if you've been around here a while, I have been reading a lot of virtual reality sci-fi this year. I read both Afterworld? Is it called Afterworld? It's a virtual reality sci-fi by Jason Segel and Kirsten Miller anyway, and I enjoyed it. I also read Ready Player One, which I absolutely loved, and so I am willing to give this a try. This follows a hacker who I believe from watching a lot of YouTube videos is called Amika Chen. She accidentally glitches herself into this worldwide virtual reality game called Warcross, and so she is recruited by the creator of Warcross to do something within the game. I'm just in it for the virtual reality sci-fi. I'm going to go into it not expecting too much. I do think that I will like it because of the topic. However, whether I do enjoy Marie Lu's writing is yet to be seen. Cody also sent me Neverworld Wake by Marisha Pessl. This is a sci-fi thriller. I believe. It is about a group of friends, and one of these group of friends died, and the main character removed herself from that group because she didn't want to associate with them anymore. Flash forward a few years, and for some reason they have come together again, and I believe that they are all trapped somewhere in a continuous loop where they have to keep reliving the same thing over and over again until they can decide which one of them has to die, and everybody has to agree on the person that is going to die for them to be released from whatever it is that they're in. I have to say I am intrigued. This is the first Marisha Pessl book that I have owned. However, I did haul another one of her books this month, which I will be showing you shortly. The last book Cody sent to me was The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh. I believe that this is a 1001 Nights retelling. The king or emperor of this area takes a new bride every night into his harem. However, she dies, and I think that the main character's sister is taken into the harem. She dies, and so her sister volunteers so that she can sort of find out what happened. Now, I'm guessing that she doesn't die after one night, but I don't really know anything about this one. I know that a lot of people kind of think it's a lackluster duology that had a lot of potential but didn't execute things too well, but I am excited to get into it because it has been on my Goodreads TBR for a very long time, and I'm glad I finally have a copy. The next 18 books are the ones that I've picked up secondhand, the first one being Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. This is quite a tatty hardback, but I've never seen this book in hardback before, and it only cost me £2, so I grabbed it. I'm not too sure what this is about, but I think that there is a girl who lives her life the same. She has a pretty mundane job, she has the same routine every single day, and I'm guessing that something comes along to shake that up. Something that really made me want the hardcover of this is those end pages. Like, oh, the crossword puzzles, and I wish that they had clues so I could fill them in, because that is beautiful. I also picked up a book that I've been looking for a very long time, however it's not in the edition that I want, and that is Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. This is the first book in the Farseer trilogy, and it is also, I believe, the first published book by Robin Hobb. I'm looking to get into some more high fantasy, epic fantasy authors, but I like to read them in publication order because, for example, both Brandon Sanderson and Robin Hobb have really big connecting worlds. I believe that there is more than one trilogy set in the same world as this trilogy, and so it's easier just to read them in publication order so that I can sort of backtrack and see the ways that they all link up. I don't really have any idea what this is about specifically, but I know that it is a high epic fantasy that has been getting a lot of hype from a lot of people, so I'll be excited to pick this up. And I also love when authors do this and like they have entire worlds in their novels, because then if you ever want more from the story or more from the world, you have a whole new set of books that you can dive into, but you don't have to read them all at once. Like, you can read them in trilogies, which makes it much more digestible because they're pretty chunky and there's a lot of books. As some of you may know, I recently read and enjoyed The Beast Player by an author whose name I still haven't learned to pronounce, and so I've been on the lookout for Japanese translated books. And so I saw this one. I don't know much about it and I've never heard of it, and that is Cloud of Sparrows by Takashi Matsuoka. Once again, probably butchered that name. This is about two Americans in 1861 who travel to Japan for different reasons, and it is about what happens there. That is pretty much all I know. I don't really want to know too much because the reason I picked this up is because it's Japanese, not for the plot, but I am hoping to eventually read a lot of Japanese books through different genres. It is a culture that I really like, and it is a culture that I want to know more about, and consuming works of fiction I feel is like a really good way to do that. I also may be buddy reading Battle Royale with Ellie from the Ellie Effect soon, so keep an eye out for that. I do have to purchase it. Here comes the second Marisha Pessl book. I picked up Night Film. This is a thriller about a film director's daughter. The daughter is found dead and it is believed that she has killed herself. However, something doesn't quite sit right with this detective, so he heads in to explore the case and find out maybe what actually happened. I believe that the director is quite reclusive and not a lot is known about him, but there is also some mixed media content in here that I am excited to get to because it just spices up the book a bit, especially when it's so chunky. Another Japanese translation and another thriller, we have 6-4 by Hideo Yokoyama. Once again, probably butchered that. This is about a young girl who goes missing in 1989, and I'm not sure how the numbers 6-4 relate to it, but I think that's sort of the name that's assigned to the case. It's quite a notorious disappearance. Her parents never found out what happened to her, and I believe many years later the case is reopened by a detective. I'm not a huge thriller person. I don't read that many. I do enjoy them occasionally, but I feel like if you keep reading thrillers, they won't be as enjoyable because you start to become used to the genre and able to predict things that are happening. But it is coming up to October, and like I said, I've been interested in Japanese work, and it has pink sprayed pages, which I think is quite rare for a thriller. So we'll see how this goes. I don't really know what to expect from it at all, so I'll just read it and see what happens. I also picked up Serafina by Rachel Hartman, which is a story about dragons. I believe it also has some murder mystery elements in here as well. I do own Tess of the Road by Rachel Hartman, which I got because Piera from Piera Ford read it and said it was really good and the cover is really pretty. But this is actually the series that comes before Tess of the Road, and Tess of the Road follows a side character from these books, which I only found out because my friend Ryan told me about it. So I thought, right, well, I can't read Tess of the Road now because I know what I'm like and I need to read this first. You can read Tess of the Road as a standalone, but obviously you gain more knowledge and I guess get more enjoyment out of it if you've read Serafina first. So I saw this in a charity shop and was like, this is the perfect time to get it. I know it is available on Scribd, but I'd rather have physical copies, and this cover is pretty damn gorgeous anyway. Another thriller, because apparently I was on a thriller binge this month. I picked up All Is Not Forgotten by Wendy Walker. This is the same author who wrote Emma in the Night. That's my favourite thriller I've ever read. So I saw the author's name and just picked this up, although I haven't heard as much about this as I have heard about Emma in the Night. I believe that this is about a girl who gets attacked in the woods and she doesn't remember what happens, but her parents and her doctors have stopped her from remembering. She does remember little bits about her attacker, but she has no idea what happened. I don't really want to know too much with a thriller, and I know it's by an author whose work I've previously enjoyed. Speaking of authors whose works I've previously enjoyed, I picked up All Is Not Forgotten by Sarah Dessan. This is a cute, fluffy, young adult contemporary. They normally have like a little bit of a darker matter woven into the plot. I read a lot of Sarah Dessan books when I was a teenager, and as you know, for 2018, I have been going through the oldest books on my Goodreads TBR. This is coming up soon, and so when I saw it in a charity shop, I thought I might as well pick it up, and then I have it for when that rolls around. Yet another thriller. I have There Is Someone Inside Your House by Stephanie Perkins. Now, I haven't heard great things about this, but what I have heard is that it's like a teenage slasher flick in book form, which I guess, like, they're not great movies to start off with, so I guess it would make sense that this is not an amazing book, but it's only short and I think it might be quite good for the spooky season. Surprise, surprise, another thriller. I have You by Caroline Kepnes. This is about a girl who is being stalked, and it is told in, what is the perspective? Second person perspective? It's written like, you did this, you did that, like you got on the train and you walked to your car. So it's like you're being stalked as the reader. I didn't know this when I got it until I was watching YouTube and there was a trailer, but this is actually being adapted into a Netflix show with Penn Badgley in, which I am so hyped about. It also has Shay Mitchell from Pretty Little Liars, both actors from trashy teenage shows that I really loved. So I really want to read this sometime soon because I know that that is starting soon, if it hasn't already, and I need to watch it. Then I picked up Cuckoo Song by Frances Hardinge. I actually picked this up because the previous two thrillers that I've just shown you were included in a 3 books for £1 at a car boot sale that I went to. I recognise this author's name because I do have another book by her, which is just up here, The Lie Tree. So I recognise the author's name, and everything else was kind of adult thrillers that I hadn't heard anything about. So I did pick this up. However, the cover looks creepy and I read the synopsis and I'm not too interested. So I think I'm just going to try one book by this author and see if I like them, and if not, I will probably unhaul them both. This month I also found a lesser known book by an author I recognise, and that is The Killing Moon by N.K. Jemisin. This is book 1 in the Dreamblood series. N.K. Jemisin is famous for her Broken Earth and Inheritance trilogy. I have the first book in her Broken Earth trilogy, although I haven't read it yet. And as a pretty well-known author who's won a lot of awards, I thought that I would actually have heard of this, but I haven't, so I picked it up anyway. As I haven't heard anything about it, I don't really know a lot, but I believe it is about people that harvest things from the dreams of other people. It's a fantasy, it sounds creepy. N.K. Jemisin is known for being quite diverse, so I will give it a try. One that's pretty well known is A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. However, with me saying it's well known, I don't actually know what it's about, and I don't think too many people have read it because of the size of it. But this was published, I believe, in the 80s and has recently been turned into a show. I'm not sure if I'm too interested in watching the show. I haven't heard a lot of hype about it, but it's a chunky fantasy about witches, which actually we don't see too much about witches. I'm not sure what the time period is, and I'm not sure if it's more paranormal than fantasy, but I am willing to give it a read. I have actually seen this before and not picked it up, but I absolutely loved this cover. It has like a white sort of red swirly design similar to the UK paperbacks of Brandon Sanderson's books, so I couldn't resist, although I couldn't tell you exactly when I'm going to get to this one. We're in the last few books, guys, I swear. I I also got a copy of Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. I don't know what this is about, but it's by David Levithan and Rachel Cohn, who also write Dash and Lily's Book of Dares. This is a pretty well-known YA, I think. It's also pretty short, so I'm not a huge contemporary reader, but I do like them on occasion. So I thought I would pick this up because it should be quite quick for me to read. Also, it's a beautiful, like, floppy paperback, and who doesn't love that? Come on. We all do. Another floppy paperback is The Thief by Megan Wallen Turner. This book is about a thief. That's all I know. I also know that Reagan from Peruse Project really likes it, and a lot of the books that she absolutely loves, and I believe she has loved for a very long time, I struggle to find. So as soon as I saw this, I was like, yes, let me have it. Also, beautiful floppy paperback, pretty matte cover. I think, yeah, this is a US edition. That's why US books are like printed in a lot better quality than UK ones. Also, with it being a fantasy, much shorter than I expected it to be, so I'm a little nervous about this because what if I really like it and there's not a lot of content here? And then also I'll have to find the rest of the series in matching paperbacks, which may be difficult. And then lastly, the last book in my haul is The Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness. So I have, shamefully, a few books by Patrick Ness. I have A Monster Calls, 2 books in the Chaos Walking series, and more than this, and I haven't read any of them. So what did I do? I picked up another Patrick Ness book. I am trying to be better about buying books from authors when I already own a book and haven't read it, but that tends to apply to series because they take up a lot more space. But with Patrick Ness just writing so many standalone books, I kind of forget that I shouldn't be doing it and just pick them up. But this is actually the Patrick Ness book that I am the most interested in. I have collected the other ones as I've seen them because I do want to read them, but this is the one of his where the synopsis stands out the most to me, and it is about a world where superheroes exist, but it doesn't focus on the superheroes, it focuses on the rest of the people that just live there. It's about how inconvenient superheroes are. Like, you're just going about your day-to-day life, you're doing your shopping, and Spider-Man swings in through the window and smashes glass everywhere, and you're all evacuated because there's a bomb in the building, and just stuff like that, which I just find a really interesting concept and something that hasn't been done before. So that is everything for my September book haul. It was a big one, guys. We had a lot of books there, and if you are still here, thank you so much, because that was a lot of books and that was a lot of your time. Please let me know if you've read any of the books that I have hauled today, especially ones that I don't know too much about, like the N.K. Jemisin one and the Japanese books I have hauled. Also, please don't forget to like this video if you liked it and subscribe if you want to. If you head into my description box, you'll find a link to my Goodreads, Instagram and Twitter if you'd like to follow me on any of those, as well as a link to my Bookish body butter and candle website, the Instagram for that, and a 10% off discount code. But that's it from me today. Bye!
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you're go when nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.